I really enjoy discovering the special qualities of a place. Almost 30 years ago, when we just moved from Illinois to Virginia, I scribbled down an idea for a series, Notes on the State of Virginia. Of course, the title is from Thomas Jefferson's book. I've been interested in Jefferson since I played Lewis and Clark as a girl. Why? Because he was interested in connecting to a specific place and its fauna and flora. He thought it worthy to notice the exact date a wildflower bloomed. He enjoyed making minute distinctions between varieties of garden plants, and he was so fascinated by mockingbirds he kept one as a pet in the White House. So, my idea for creating a personal notes on the state of Virginia lurked in the back of my head for decades. Then, one day in 2010, I was looking at my sketchbooks and realized I've been making notes on the state of Virginia all along. I was ready then to expand the work and make it statewide, to be on a kind of mission of what? How do I explain it? I didn't want to travel like a tourist, see the sights, then leave, but rather I wanted to be receptive to the nuances of a place, let it travel through me. Finally, in 2011, with a grant from the Virginia Commission for the Arts, I began. I must say that the task was daunting at first. Virginia is so culturally and biologically rich. I visited each area of the 5 regions of the state: Coastal Plain, Piedmont, Blue Ridge, Valley and Ridge, and Appalachian Plateau. I put a lot of miles on the road, on foot, and even by kayak, collecting material and drawing and drawing and drawing at every place. Then I'd bring it all back to my studio where I would lay it out and begin to construct a piece. I usually began with a USGS topographical map, sort of like a foundation. I love these maps. They're so suggestive. All those green, wavy lines, they have such a spare beauty. On the map, I added found materials or my sketches, sometimes printed on clear mylar, and paintings. I added so much to some of the pieces that sometimes only a tiny bit of the map showed when I was finished. One of the places I visited was Natural Bridge. Because of all things, I'd never been there, and Jefferson thought it so impressive he bought it in 1774. As I drew, a rough-winged swallow swooped overhead. It occurred to me that Jefferson would have seen the same swallow, I mean, genetically related to this one. I think he would have been fascinated by genetics. So back in the studio, I created my bridge out of swallow genome sequences. At each place I was on the lookout for something that resonated with me. Sometimes the studio experience itself influenced the final piece. The Chesapeake Bay shape on the big Virginia map tacked on my studio wall reminded me daily of a dragon or huge root, which I think really appropriate for a watershed. So I combined that animated shape with sketches of the washed-up horseshoe crabs collected in the bay. The background text, Climate Change in the Chesapeake Bay, offers yet another layer of thought. Each piece holds such layers. Take the one about Great Dismal Swamp. That place revealed itself to me while actually spotting animals there, to later reading about its rich history. For instance, I had no idea that Maroons were escaped slaves who hid in the swamp, and that Harriet Beecher Stowe wrote a novel about a Maroon, Dread, the leader of a slave rebellion. In each piece, I explore materials, just as I explore actual terrain. Over the course of this project, the phrase "glimpse the layers" kept surfacing in my mind. That's all we can do, get a good glimpse of all the lives, past and present, that pass through a place. In field notes, I documented animals and plants I witnessed in the Alleghenies, very much in the Jeffersonian style of documenting and listing the various life forms witnessed. You know that saying, the middle of nowhere? That doesn't exist. Every place is the middle of somewhere for some living being. I just couldn't have done this Virginia project without the help of some extraordinary Virginians who guided me around the places they know and love. I owe so much to Bill Kittrell for providing detailed lists of places and who I might contact there. He connected me with Tetta Kane, who he described as everything Dragon Run. Going out at night to hear the frogs in the swamp with this spunky expert as my guide was unforgettable. Bill also led me to Barry Truitt, who knows the eastern shore of Virginia like the back of his hand, and who gave me an eyewitness tour of this eastern seacoast. Gardener at Monticello, Pat Brodowski, literally pulled up Jefferson's favorite carrot varieties for me to paint. I've gained a deeper feeling for the Shenandoah Valley from brother and sister John Sproul and Elizabeth Sproul Ross, whose ancestors have farmed the region since the 1700s. Bobby Clontz woke at 4:30 a.m. to guide me to the pine forest where I could see an endangered species, the red-cockaded woodpecker, emerge from its cavity at dawn. And I'm indebted to the late Dr. Richard Hoffman, state entomologist at the Virginia Museum of Natural History. I miss his witty expert answers to my "What's that bug?" emails. Over the course of this project, I'd hoped to learn more about the rich variety of land and life that make up the state, and I have, but I've also learned how much I don't know. As Jefferson himself said, he who knows best knows how little he knows. What interests me most is deep engagement with a place and interpreting my inner response to that place. So, what would I like viewers to experience in this exhibit? For one, I'd like them to explore the assemblages as they might explore actual terrain. And I'd like to think that they might be surprised to find themselves close up examining animals they've never really stopped to notice. And afterwards, well, when they go outside, when they're in their own yard or a wilderness area, I hope they might see more there. And that includes seeing those inhabitants of that place, people or other living things, as, how do I say this? I think what I want to say is that there's inhabitants of a place whose deed is in their DNA, from the smallest beetle to a person. And then I hope people recognize their own special role as observers, make their own interpretations, make their own notes.